families for their contributions and sacrifices in the defense of our nation and our freedom. The aircraft you're seeing today are the GEICO Skytypers. They're flying the North American SNJ-2. They're the Navy version of the AT-6 airplane that was used to train pilots during the Second World War. And now, folks, from overhead and from behind, please welcome the GEICO Skytypers in their challenging 5-plane Arrowhead formation.
Pilots on the team today earned their wings through military training
in the United States Air Force, the Navy, and the Marines. Many transitioned into commercial airline pilots following their time served in the military. Leading the flight today is boss Larry Arkin, co-pilot Steve Kapoor. Watch now as the Skytypers perform the turning maneuver in this beautiful formation. These aircraft each weigh about 5,500 pounds. They use that 600 horsepower supercharged 9-cylinder radial, better known as the Pratt & Whitney R1340. Notice the precision of the pilots as they constantly adjust to hold their position on flight lead while maintaining only a few feet of wingtip clearance. This is the type of formation flying that's required, and it absolutely takes full concentration and a high degree of skill that's only developed after many years of flying. The GEICO Skytypers are pleased today to demonstrate some of the unique capabilities of this vintage aircraft. They'll be performing a series of demonstrations and maneuvers. Right now, the flight lead is releasing both outboard solo pilots for a further demonstration of this aircraft's rare maneuverability. Watch the solos as they turn their smoke on and cross paths right in front of you there, folks. Here they go, narrowly missing each other with just a little margin of error. As the aircraft cross, the solo pilots will now turn toward show center to demonstrate the opposing solo pass. When the two aircraft engage in air-to-air combat, they attempt to pass as closely as possible and either maneuver to get behind the opponent or to escape to safety. The aircraft will then extend and then reverse course to simulate the opposing solo gun pass. Flying lead solo today is Mr. Steve Salamars, with opposing solo flown today by Tom Daly. Diving now for energy, the solos begin their approach. Closing speeds of over 320 miles per hour. Watch now as they turn in right there toward Airshow Center. When they get closer, watch for the pitch up, and then watch as they roll in toward each other, passing canopy to canopy, less than 50 feet apart. As the solos clear the sky, watch for the rest of the formation right at show center. The GEICO Skytypers will now demonstrate one of their signature formations known simply as the line abreast. This formation is similar to the one that they use when typing messages across the sky. And now at the command of the leader, the Skytypers will execute that perfect 90-degree right turn and change the formation into a trail. Once in trail, they'll regroup into a more effective formation in order to continue on with this mission. One method to rejoin is the lead aircraft to start a turn, and then have the other aircraft add power, put their nose in front of the lead so they can fly a little bit shorter distance. Now each pilot must be aware of the location of the other airplane so they can maneuver together to get into that position as quickly as possible. Together again in the left echelon formation, the flight leader is now in the forwardmost position of that echelon formation. He's responsible for the direction and the integrity of that entire flight. The wingmen, they need to maintain their positions while constantly referencing the flight leader. Pilots today, right wing, Mr. Ken Johansson, and left wing, Mr. Rob Steo. Smoke is on, ladies and gentlemen. Watch now as they execute this precision echelon formation.
Combat pilots trained in this single-engine tandem seater
Than any other World War II trainer. The SNJ, designed in the late 1930s, flew with the Armed Forces well into the Korean War up into the 1950s, retiring as a Navy trader back in 1958. The airplane was well suited for its training role and had just enough bad habits to teach the new pilots respect for their future high-performance fighters that you've seen flying here today. Watch now as the two aircraft arrive overhead and split into separate paths. These two solo airplanes, we're going to call them forward air controllers today, better known as FACs. The FACs will study the target area and determine the level of threat. But today, they're going to determine that the level of threat is high, and they're going to be calling out for support from the other aircraft. Watch now as they signal 3 Flight, better known as GEICO Flight, to come on back in for assistance. But be sure to notice that GEICO Flight has just enough ammunition and fuel for one pass before they head inbound. Watch now as these two solo FACs, with their smoke on, perform a circling maneuver. That's going to signal that something's wrong, and that's the area where they need to see. They need to get a better look at it. They're going to start this tight turning radius turn that's going to be able to illustrate what happens when two enemy aircraft enter a no-advantage turning contest. Watch now as those two SNJs start this very maneuver. For the moment, neither pilot is able to take a shot. Watch now as they execute this tight turning circle flawlessly. After being engaged in this no-win encounter, they're going to break off and disengage. And high and to the right, in just a matter of moments, GEICO Flight number 3 will arrive in the echelon formation in response to this simulated call for support. This formation is well known to anyone who has watched World War II movies. You often see the aircraft rolling in on the target of the enemy aircraft from the echelon formation. High and right above us, watch now as they're cleared in hot and go for the break. GEICO Flight rolling in for a high angle of attack straight. A spiral attack to choose to confuse the enemy gunners on the ground. As the GEICO Flight departs and rejoins into a defensive 3-ship formation, watch high above the target area once again as 2 aircraft are dispatched to assess the damage. The 2 FAC aircraft are now inbound and looking over the target area for anything that might have been missed. Today, it appears absolutely that everything has been hit. When they exit the area, they'll retain their same speed, but change their heading and altitude to evade the enemy fire. GEICO and the GEICO Skytypers would like to share another one of our unique capabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the solos are now generating a special message to show their appreciation to everyone for attending today's show. As the solos prepare for their message, I'd like to invite you to learn a little bit more about GEICO. GEICO has received a long list of diverse honors, awards, and customer testimonials for their service. Their focus on helping people can be seen in every aspect of their operations. The Skytypers help to promote and educate people about GEICO's products and services through team appearances, Skytype messages, and Airshow performances. Let's watch now straight ahead and see what the solos have in store for us. As the solos begin to pull into the vertical, they will once again cross at 180 miles an hour and turn their smoke on.
Ready?
Like they're drawing a big heart in the sky. Keep your eyes forward now. As the diamond formation transformed into a challenging vertical diamond, attempts to fly right through the center. In the vertical diamond, the references the wingmen use change completely now, as they have to look almost straight up from a mated position with the lead aircraft. And if you look straight ahead, you'll see Skytyper number 5 demonstrating a low altitude pop-up bombing attack. He's going to stay low in an attempt to fly right under the enemy radar coverage, and and then Skytyper number 6 will simulate an attack on number 5. Number 5 is going to have to fly an unpredictable flight path, better known as a jink maneuver, to complete the mission. Let's watch now as 5 pops up to deliver his ordnance while number 6 maneuvers in to shoot him down from behind. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen. Straight in at Airshow Center, the GEICO Skytypers. Exiting the target area, follow the solos as they rejoin the rest of the squadron overhead to form a 5-plane formation. Keep your eyes on the formation as it simulates an RTB, better known as a return to base. The aircraft combine a powerful mix of the new and the old. The vintage World War II aircraft enhanced with the latest computer technology used to create giant messages in the sky, better known as skytyping. These are the only 2 teams in the United States that create skytype messages. The GEICO Skytypers, however, are the only team to skytype and perform demonstrations like the one you've seen here today. Displayed at 10,000 feet, the skytype messages can be seen in a 30-mile circle, including a 400 square mile radius. Each letter that's created is as tall as the Empire State Building. But if you think that's big, GEICO went from 1 million policyholders in 1964 to over 11 million policyholders to date. GEICO has in service people all over 50 states, and they offer just more than car insurance. The GEICO Skytypers, folks, are getting into position to pay tribute and salute all of our military members and families and all of the supporters with our next special formation. Folks, GEICO appreciates your service and your dedication. Ladies and gentlemen, please look straight ahead now and watch as the solos rejoin the rest of the flight. The boss is going to maneuver them into a special formation position. Modern jets have a lot of power and speed, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is called the fan pass. Continue to watch the aircraft overhead as they rejoin and then reverse to give you one more exciting photo opportunity right across Show Center. These aircraft are operated most of the year in the New York metro area that are based out of Farmingdale, New York's Republic Airport. They've been responsible for keeping these vintage aircraft in such fine shape. The Skytyper aircraft technicians, better known as Keith Urso, Frank Atria, Alex Mera, and Greg Coons. We'd also like to recognize other key pilots on our team, like Mr. Jim Record, who's standing right now here at Show Center, and pilot Dino Perlis. If you'd like to see photos and videos, or simply to get more information on the team, you can find out even where they're traveling next by visiting them right there at Facebook.com or Twitter under the keyword GEICO Skytypers, or just visit their website, GEICOSkytypers.com. Let's look and watch now as the GEICO Skytypers make their banana pass, or better known as a photo pass, right over the field.
Here they come in from left to right. Ladies and gentlemen, the aircraft
You've been watching today, better known as the SNJ-2. These are the first in the series of the SNJs that were built for the Navy by North American Aviation. There are over 15,000 variants of this aircraft built. The SNJs were made, of course, for carrier operations and came well equipped with the tailhook. The aircraft were often referred to as the pilot maker. The SNJ designation, well, that was for the Navy. The Army Air Force referred to it as the AT-6. The Royal Air Force and the Royal Canadian Air Force called it the Harper. But all of them were the predecessor of the North American B-51. GEICO provides the team the ability to share these airplanes with you at air shows all across the country, thanks to their sponsorship. The team flying today, though, in honor of all of our military veterans, but especially those who flew during the Second World War. Follow the formation now as they roll in reverse direction. They'll come in low and fast, and then pitch up for their famous landing sequence. Let's watch now, ladies and gentlemen, on the right side of the field as the GEICO Skytypers fly in for their landing pass. That's pilot number 1. Give a big round of applause to Mr. Larry Arkin and Steve Kapoor. Number 2, Ken Johansson. And number 3, Rob Steele. Number 5, Steve Salamars. And number 6, Tom Daly. GEICO and the GEICO Skytypers would like to thank you, the audience, for supporting the Rhode Island Airshow and their great sponsors. Stop by and talk with the folks at GEICO today. Buy their big GEICO tin. Have a signed picture or some great GEICO gifts. And remember, folks, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more right there at geico.com. You know, flying these World War II aircraft, folks, requires a lot of unusual skill sets. The Skytyper pilots, they have to be able to handle a large tailwheel airplane, just like the SNJ-2, as well as being an accomplished formation pilot. It's not always easy to find the right combination of skills. That's the reason that the majority of the pilots flying for GEICO today are former military aviators. By the way, the smoke that's being used today is an environmentally friendly light paraffin-based oil that's been approved by the EPA and is used at air shows nationwide. Our thanks to GEICO and to the GEICO Skytypers, everybody, as they roll out here on landing. As soon as those canopies come open, they'll be able to hear your applause. Please let them hear from you. The GEICO Skytypers, please find out more about them at geico.com, and of course, find them on Facebook. Just run a search there for GEICO Skytypers. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the GEICO Skytypers as they make their way back in. We got the last one landing there. Our thanks to each and every one of them for coming out today. We'll pause just here for a quick moment. Hear a message here from our friends at the Selective Service, ladies and gentlemen.
On 9/11, we witnessed just how important firefighters and police are. I'm Harold Shaper, President of the International